Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. Here nursing a cold, but we'll work through it. Just like a fighter with a broken toe recently worked through a heavyweight fight. Um, let's talk about a fighter who, quite frankly, I think is special. He's in the UK. He's not internationally known, but I think that's just a matter of time. And his name is Frankie Gavin, and he's fighting Curtis Woodhouse. Now, before I go further, just remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Let's get a little bit wonkish here and just talk about great defense. And for those wanting a prediction on the fight, taking Gavin to win isn't good enough because the odds are so skewed. Gavin's a big favorite that you're not going to get a lot on your money. But I do expect Gavin to win this fight by KO. On Skybet right now, the under 10.5 is a -125. That would give you Gavin by KO, and it would also give you Curtis Woodhouse by KO all the way through the midway point of the 11th round. If you don't have that prop in your sports book, Gavin by KO is a -175. Given that he has 8 KOs in 10 fights, I actually think that that's a good bet to make. I think Gavin wins this one, and I think he does it emphatically. Let's talk about why. Gavin is a defensive master, and fans like knockouts. Knockouts sell tickets. Great defense, though, will win fights. And let's talk about great defense, and let's talk about angles. I think it's something that, quite frankly, isn't discussed enough. Let's get a little bit geeky in the video now that I've satisfied the gamblers with my pick, and let's talk about the actual mechanics. Long jabbers will have a very hard time. I mean, very hard time with Frankie Gavin's style. Let's talk about why. If I'm a right-handed long jabber, then my jab is my left hand, right? Just as an aside, long jabbers rarely go to the body, right? When Ali lost his legs later in his career, you'll notice Ali almost never went to the body. In fact, quite frankly, look at Cassius Clay and Ali tapes. Granted, Ali's a mover, but he threw a long jab, and you'll see that Ali rarely went to the body. It's the same thing with popular long jabber, and I'll use him because people know who he is. Heavyweight champion Vladimir Klitschko. Klitschko operates from distance, right? He throws a jab, then to hurt you, he'll throw an overhand right or a left hook. When you get inside, he grabs you, right? He's the opposite of someone like Lucien Boutte, who you get inside on Boutte. Boutte starts throwing body punches. Boutte starts throwing very short uppercuts from in close. Boutte can shorten his punches and can throw very short punches. Right, now let's talk about great defense against someone like Vladimir Klitschko. Right, what a defensive master would do. If Vladimir Klitschko, using angles, if Vladimir Klitschko is shooting a left jab and he's turned somewhat sideways, so it's very hard to reach him, and that left jab is like being hit with a pole, right? It's almost like a lead, straight punch, right? He's hitting you with the left jab. If he's fighting a southpaw, and Frankie Gavin is a southpaw, right? Just pretend they weigh the same. Frankie Gavin obviously is not a heavyweight, right? If Frankie Gavin's a southpaw, if he's fighting a southpaw, Then Vladimir Klitschko's left hand lines up with the southpaw's right shoulder. In other words, the left hand lines up with the southpaw's non-dominant shoulder. Now, what's interesting with defensive masters is that while the rest of us will hold our hands up to defend ourselves, we believe that defense is blocking punches with our hands or maybe occasionally dodging punches with head movement. Defensive masters think outside the box. They literally block punches with body parts. And so a southpaw defensive master will turn sideways. So all he's showing his opponent is a side profile. The opponent has less to hit immediately, right? Turn sideways, his right shoulder is showing to Vladimir Klitschko, right? Then he'll tuck his chin behind that right shoulder. He can even operate out of a Philly shell where his right hand is actually dangling across his body. He doesn't even have to raise a hand to block the punch. In other words, if Vladimir Klitschko is trying to hit a lefty who's a defensive master with a jab, he's going to have to go through that lefty's shoulder if that lefty comes in at the right angle to get to the lefty's chin. Right? It gets deeper. If the lefty knows what he's doing off the angles, right? And keep in mind, he has to come in at an angle where Vladimir Klitschko cannot hit his chin with a straight left jab. Right? He's trying to neutralize the jab, but he's trying to do it without running. Right? He's a defensive master. He's trying to neutralize the jab up close. So that lefty's going to bend his knees, and he's going to have it so that if Vladimir Klitschko throws the jab, Klitschko's hitting his right shoulder, not his chin, right? He's turned sideways. Now, if he bends and he plays the angles well enough, then when Vladimir Klitschko throws a left hook, like the left hook that took out Ray Austin, if Klitschko throws a left hook, the lefty can have it angle-wise without raising a hand figured out so that that lefty can then just bend his back, and if his head is completely in line with his back, he can literally have that hook bounce off his back. Just literally bounce off his back, go over his head, or crash into his left shoulder. Right? Keep in mind, this is without raising his hands. Now, if you want to see what I'm talking about in real life, and this is all off angles, this is a lefty turned sideways against a long jabber, neutralizing the jab with his shoulder and his back, and doing so while in the jabber's punch range. Keep in mind, the lefty could take a step back and could be outside walking away from the long jabber. I'm talking about when the master actually chooses to engage with you. Just take a look at the very first round. It's on YouTube, of Oscar De La Hoya's fight against one of the best defensive fighters in boxing history, in my opinion, Pernell Whitaker. Right? You're going to see that Pernell Whitaker is right in front of De La Hoya. It's a bit of a shocker because insiders know De La Hoya, who fought orthodox, was actually a left-hander himself. And keep in mind, De La Hoya's money punch was his left hook. So we're talking about Pernell Whitaker is playing with fire, right? Literally dealing with De La Hoya's dominant hand. But because De La Hoya is hiding it as a jab, Pernell Whitaker is basically telling him in the very first round, I'm going to take away your jab. I can stand right in front of you, and I can bend at the waist and bend my knees and come in at such an angle where you have nothing to hit if you throw your hook, and if you throw your jab, you're just going to be hitting my shoulder. Well, let me just say this. And let me give you the kicker. You know how they always say the way to beat a southpaw is with a straight right hand. Understand there's a corollary to that. And the corollary is that the way for a southpaw to beat an orthodox fighter is with a straight left. So understand, if I throw a left hook and it goes over a southpaw shoulder, understand I'm naked for the straight left hand. I could even have my hand covering my chin. If the southpaw gets inside my presence, inside my zone, even if I have my hand up around my chin area, he has my entire face to hit. And he can just come in with a straight right hand. I'm finished. Take a look at Vladimir Klitschko's loss to southpaw Corey Sanders. Right? Well, Pernell Whitaker, believe it or not, seems to have moved to England, seems to have changed his look, and is now going by the name of Frankie Gavin. Frankie Gavin is literally just like Pernell Whitaker. Watch him. He's a southpaw. He comes in on angles. Right? He's so good. And we're talking about an unbeaten fighter who's 10-0. He is so good that when you cover up on Frankie Gavin, he then is able to lean in. You can have your hands up. He's geared for long jabbers who turtle when he comes in. He'll actually throw body punches around your elbows. He's so close to you when he wants to be that it's remarkable that he's able to stand that close to you without getting hit. Right? This guy really is one of the dominant defensive fighters in the game right now. Let me also say, too, that don't buy the hype on age. And I know Frankie Gavin, 10 pro fights. He's only 25 years old. Great defensive guys are great defensively from a young age because they see the sport differently. The sport to Brandon Rios is to come in, throw heavy punches, blow out his opponent. The sport to Frankie Gavin is to come in, work angles, have it so that when the other guy throws a jab, he can't hit anything. When he throws a hook, he can't hit anything. Right? When he throws a right hand, Frankie Gavin is prepared to bounce it, come inside. Right? Much more cerebral game, much more, of a technician in the ring. I think Frankie Gavin is a fighter to look out for. Any long jabber within his area code, this includes Canelo, quite frankly, would have one hell of a hard time with Frankie Gavin. The UK sent a fighter the other day to fight Canelo in Mexico. They sent the wrong guy. It shouldn't have been Rhodes. It should have been this guy, Frankie Gavin. Let's briefly talk about Curtis Woodhouse. Woodhouse, believe it or not, fought a guy who had more than 70 losses once. Woodhouse then, of course, topped himself. He fought the guy again when the guy had more than 100 losses. Right? Woodhouse has twice lost to fighters with losing records. Don't be fooled by Woodhouse's records. Woodhouse has hardly fought anybody. He's too aggressive. He's made to order for Frankie Gavin. Understand, great defensive guys want you to be aggressive with them because then that creates counter punching opportunities that they can exploit. I like Gavin big in this one, and for boxing people who want to see great defense, take a look at this fighter. Thanks for watching.